Okay, hi. Thank you. So my name is Linda Were. I am the head of Redhot Africa, which is a premium imprint of Storymoja publishers. The morning has been really, really great. I've really enjoyed myself. It is really great to see young people really engaging with the themes around online safety, being willing to discuss them and come up with their own rules for how to keep safe online. And the event was also a lot of fun. Okay, so those are two things in one. There's reading, you've talked about reading, and you've talked about online safety. So, the kinds of books that we produce within Red Hot Africa are books that people love to read. We produce books that children will love to read. So, by creating stories which are relatable, they see children who look like them, they're African children, having the kinds of problems that African children have. The children are really able to relate to them. So then when the stories they find they're also interesting, it then encourages them to read. Because often you find that for children to get a reading culture, it is when they find a book that is really interesting, talks to them, and they can see themselves in those books and that they're really good quality. So that's how I see that helping as far as the reading culture is concerned. Now, for online safety, the themes within the books are digital themes. So we've got stories within that book that deal with themes which are really important in today's age. We have catfishing, online gambling, we have cyberbullying, and all these themes come out in the stories that have been told. So, reading a story helps a child to experience maybe the kind of dangers that they can come across online, and they're able to experience that without being in actual real danger, and they don't actually feel the difference between it happening to them and it happening in a story. So this is really useful because in engaging with the story, they're then able to understand what they need to do to keep themselves safe online. So something very important about this is the fact that, like we said earlier, that the digital world is here to stay. So it's here with us, and children are online. So, how do we make sure that they keep safe online? We have to be able to show them how to use the online spaces, because online spaces have, apart from the dangers you meet there are lots and lots of benefits online that exposes children to a lot of things, places that they may not have traveled to, ideas which are new, and there's a whole host of benefits to being online. But on the other hand, just like out in the world, even things with benefits, there are certain dangers that they can be out there. They meet millions of strangers, possibly online. So, how can they keep themselves safe? It is only by learning what they need to do to keep safe that will keep them safe online. Okay, yeah, glad you asked that question. Yes, so when we did the Deception and Other Stories, the success was phenomenal. And over the last 2 years, 2024 and 2025, we have had over 18,000 learners engaging with these stories. And out of that success, what we wanted to do was find a way to make sure that the lessons that are within the stories are really cemented. And that is why we came up with the online safety code competition, where students read the stories and came up with the rules that they think they should employ to keep safe online. And there was a way that they were doing it. They were creating videos, they were creating posters, doing research, interviews within their schools before they came up with the top rules. So by taking part in this activity, they were really able to internalize the rules. And because that has worked so well, we have interacted with over 120 schools in Kenya. Talking with Meta, we then found that how about we have an ambitious goal? How about if we spread this across Africa and not just in Kenya? So what we are doing now is that we're developing an anthology of stories similar to the digital stories in Deception and Other Stories. So these will be stories from across Africa, where we will have writers from other African countries as well writing digital stories. And this is going to be spread out across Africa. One of the things we're going to do is to have a podcast that can be held or watched from other African countries. We have already spoken to some of Meta's partners from Nigeria and South Africa to then move on to the next step so that we can continue promoting online safety in those countries. Thank you.